All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to this month's Datacom Community Webcast. Before I hand you off to Nikisha and the team, just a few things I need to cover. First, a few questions along the way, and we always hope that you do. Please use the questions box along the right-hand side of your screen to ask those. We'll get through as many of those as we can during our time together today. We do have a packed agenda. But if for some reason we can't get through everything, if we run out of time, or if the team needs to do a little research to get you a better answer, I'll make sure that they have everything they need to get in touch with you. We are recording today's session, which is why your lines are all muted. That replay will be available out in the Datacom community either later today or sometime tomorrow. And the last thing for me is we want to make sure these sessions are as valuable as possible. So at the end of the webcast, a short survey is going to pop up on your screen. We would love some feedback on the webcast. That's it for me. Take it away, Nikisha.
Thank you, Len. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikisha Newberry. I'm the product manager for Datacom, and we have many people on the line with us today. I'd like to introduce Sheila Miller, our offering manager, as well as Vince Abadi, our engineering manager. But in addition to the management team, we have several members of our development team with us today, and each of them will get to speak on each of the enhancements that they worked on to give you an overview of our Datacom new features that have been recently delivered. We will be covering some pre-GA material today, so this is our disclaimer saying anything we cover is subject to change or withdrawal by Broadcom at any time without notice. And now let's get right into it. So our agenda will first cover an overview and demos of our recently published enhancements, and then we'd like to give you a sneak peek into some upcoming enhancements, and then we'll close out our meeting with some general announcements and news and have time for Q&A. But as Len articulated in the beginning, please feel free to ask questions throughout the session, and we'll try and get to those, and we'll save sessions for the end, questions at the end as well. Okay, so we have many new recent enhancements we'd like to talk about today. We're going to cover our enhancement journey for VSAM linear datasets, online table move 24/7 support for partition tables, our DBUT support for wider screens for our CICS dynamic terminals. We'll cover level set PTFs and SCRT reporting. We'll give you an update on our service update packs. And then on the next slide, we'll cover IDEO for how we reinitialize IDEO working storage based on field types with the reset statement. And then we'll cover a variety of SQL enhancements and then close with Embrace Open workshops. So with that, we're going to get right into it. So I'm going to pass it over to our first engineer, Ken Eaton, who will talk to you about our VSAM linear datasets. Ken, are you on mute?
It looks like he is. Oh, there he comes.
Oh, you're on mute. We heard you for a second. There you go.
Okay, my name is Ken Eaton, and talk about linear VSAM datasets with you. Pervasive encryption is one of the reasons that we did this for. Basically, it also gives you zip offload as part of the process. And we had a particular client who had a real key requirement to get over to pervasive encryption. And they moved thousands of datasets over here recently to have had success with this. And basically, we do, it's all in SRB mode, zip enabled with zip engine. So we offload all that overhead over there. Basically, the indexes and database areas are the ones we moved over currently. And we've added one more area to that. FXX. So you can use modern tools to get you over there for on area move as well, and to help you move from BDM to VSAM. So anything that IBM does in the future, you'll naturally inherit it without us writing any kind of enhancements. And because now our IO is now zip enabled, well, there's less switching in the product, because switching between TCP and SRB does cause overhead, and this overhead's now been reduced significantly because now we can do IO and under the zip engine in SRB mode. Next slide. This is our journey we've been doing with VSAM as we've been delivering different functionality over time, and the ones in green are the ones we've delivered. The last one is FXX, and basically we've recently turned support for that, and we have a future. 2 more system areas called CXX and LXX. Both of those are now what we call cooking. A term I probably use a lot. What we do is we just run different run regression over and over again because the timing is just different in Datacom. Datacom's really got some interesting timing between DB utility and applications and system tools. And we're just going to let them cook for a while. So CXX is next delivery. The LXX will follow later. I'm guessing maybe 8 months to 9 months later to be delivered after CXX goes to GA. Next slide. This will give us over to Jacob.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Huerta, developer on Datacom. And to just discuss briefly in reference to what Ken was talking about, there's a data class report that's available. It doesn't require that MUF is up in order for you to be able to run it. What it will do is it will give you the data classes that are available on your particular machine, and it will tell you whether or not those meet the requirements or recommendations that we have internally for Datacom. It's important to note that there are some attributes of a data class that can be overridden, and when that happens, it may appear as though they are recommended or required, but in actuality, if they end up getting overridden when you go to define a cluster, they won't be. But that won't be displayed in this report. So there are two flavors of it. You can search for a particular SMS data class, or you can just simply do the default option, which will show you the list of all the data classes on your particular machine. That's pretty much it. Next slide.
Joe, I think you might be on mute.
Okay. This is Ken. Again, I'm going to talk about this FXX support. Basically, this list of bullets give you the type of requirements. We want to set tasks to 1,000 for MUF tasks. We want at least 50 cylinders of space to do this, and it must be also allocated as PE. And there's a keyword when you knit the FXX type IO is not allowed. It defines what it is and it'll automatically inherit it. And we want a 24K block size, which is the max size for VSAM as currently delivered. And no support for modern tools to move it via OAM. And basically that's, we delivered that, and you can now run out one particular system data set under VSAM. Again, the CXX and LXX is not supported at this time. Next slide. Online table move. We had a customer who requested this, and we had a blocking edit we put in place basically to help get the feature out the door GA as we do. So we basically had a requirement to remove that edit, and that's via the PTF that's on this page. And basically, you can run the normal migration path for TM24 as a child level for a partition table. There's no support for the any parent or the global parent table. You have to do it at the child level. And it works pretty much the same way. Can you go next slide, please? This is the error message the customer is getting, the DB02836 easy. And you see the in bold, the partition table. Basically, that no longer occurs. The partition table value is no longer if you have this PTF applied. So you're able to basically run online table move or TM24 against any child partition table. Next slide. Just go back to you, Nikisha, or does it go?
Hello, thank you. So now we'll talk about our DBUT support for wider screens for dynamic terminals. It enables a DBA to use wider screens for dynamic terminals to accommodate them, and it gives you additional navigational operators such as the percent and the question mark sign, which are commonly used in other mainframe products. And with that, we have a couple screenshots to outlay a little bit of this feature, and I'll pass it over to John Woo.
Yes, thanks, Kisha. Hello, this is Jung-woo. Recently joined Datacom team, and today we have a few slides to demonstrate what after applying the PTF LU08227, which covers two features. So if you have a session column size set up to be 140 and greater, and with this dynamic terminals, you get to see this dbut command will show expansion of the what you normally see on the left screen, and more data display in one screen, which means fewer forwards and backwards when you're trying to navigate something within the storage. And the next screen. And with this fix, now we have the which is synonym for dash greater or equal greater operand. Now just to one character to just percentage and question mark. Percentage is for 24-bit address, and the question mark is for 31-bit. And just demonstrating here, dbut equal 21 Charlie with the question mark, which is the current TCP within our system, is an example here that go directly to the address that has been read in the red box. Okay, next screen. And finally, any combinations. And if a client want to go back to the older way using the dash greater or equal sign greater, along with our new features add-on, which is percentage and question mark, it still work, or any combinations. And this example here demonstrating, again, more drilled down versions of it, went to further, if you see the third right screen, is the dbut plus 21 Charlie, which I show in the earlier slide. With this case, with the percentage operand and plus dog0 and go to that address. And that's been in the red boxes there. So yeah, so this along with this fix, it'll be boiled down to just one characters to go to certain address within the storage, and also expansions of the dbut panels. And hope you use it, and just let us know any feedback that you have. And that's it. Next would be Bill.
Okay, go ahead and go to the next screen. Yeah. My name is Bill Evans. I'm part of the Datacom SQL team, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the level set PTS. The purpose of the level set PTS was to make it easier to apply maintenance to get the system up to current level, as well as enhancements, new features. The level set PTF that you have, we have level set 01 out right now for the Datacom products, and level set 01 includes all the maintenance from the beginning of 15.1 up to current. These PTFs were created actually middle of December last year, December 22, and are current up to that point. In the future, we'll be coming out with another level set PTF, and the nice thing about it is they're not cumulative, so the next level set PTF will supersede the previous one and will still include all the maintenance from day one up to whenever it's built. And like I said, it's intended to make it easier to apply maintenance and get your enhancements and everything out there and adopted. Okay, let's go to the next screen real quick. Okay, one of the ways you can tell if you have a level set PTF on, or if you're at a particular level, and I just pulled out the DB00215 iMessage to show you an example of what they would look like. When you see the version, if you did not have a level set, it would just say 15.1 and then 3 blanks after that. With a level set PTF on, it'll have 15.1 dot, in this case 01. Of course, the next one will say 02, 03, so forth up the line. Most of the products have a similar type message. I just didn't show them all because it would have been a little too much. But that's why you can tell quickly if you got a level set on and which level set it is. It will actually help us if there's an issue, to determine what you have on the system and what you don't have on the system. It kind of make your life a little bit easier. If we ask you, well, do you have XYZ on? And if you say, yeah, we got level set 1 on, we would know what PTFs you would have on. Okay, next screen real quick. The next screen will actually show you, the screen will show you what the PTF numbers are for the various products that we have it for right now. Like the core products, you see these 2 PTFs, and then next to it, we had to make changes in the products to be able to display these, and these are the PTFs that actually externalize the level set number. So this is the list of them. I'm not going to go through each one of them, obviously, but if you do have if you're regularly put on cars maintenance, all these PTFs will be on cars 2301. So if you use the cars, you'll get them. If you don't, you can install them manually. The nice thing about it is they're not mandatory. In other words, if you really don't want to put one of these on, you don't have to. It will not cause the products any grief or anything, but it will help your life, make your life and our life a little bit easier if you use them. Okay, that's it for this. And if you go to the next slide, we'll turn it over to Robert.
Hello, everybody. This is Robert Florian, a member of the DB Development Group. Broadcom is participating in a mainframe-wide initiative to bring into SCRT reporting and feature registration how you're using the products. So right now, you may think you're using something and you're not. You may think you're not using a product and you really are. And so what this does is allow both you and Broadcom to see what products, what components, what features you're using. And this example on this screen is a relatively early example, so it just shows components, not features. The SCRT report is just one component of this initiative, and it's like the highest level component. It is cut once a month, and it shows you, in essence, mainframe-wide, a roll-up of what components and features you used. Next slide, please. But from a DBA's perspective, probably something much more useful is how we populate this report. So this report is populated 2 ways. One is license checks, and with DB and portfolio simplification, there are very few license checks. So that is not typically how it's populated. The second way it's populated is by using something called feature registration. And with feature registration, you as a DBA can go out and drill down, and you can see what LPARs, what MUFs are running, what components they run, what features they run. So it would be very useful for just seeing how things are configured, how things are adopted. So this first screen here shows just this was run very recently the other day on one of our Broadcom development LPARs, and it shows you on this particular LPAR which Datacom AD MUFs are running, and you can see that they're the base means the MUF components running, but underneath that you can see which products are running this AD version. So in this case, each of the MUFs is running a single AD product underneath it. Under the funcs used column, you can see if it says used, that means an SMF record was cut, and it's going to show up on the SCRT report. Next slide, please. But in a full-blown Datacom DB MUF, it's somewhat different. So in a full-blown Datacom DB version, what you see is when MUF enables, it goes out and registers the components and the new major features. So you can see, for instance, VSAM linears on this list. So it goes out, it registers whether the function, component, feature is enabled or disabled. an example being disabled is, say you have to do a configuration. You have to code a muff startup option, for instance, for the feature to be allowed to be used. If you haven't coded that option, it's disabled and you can't use it. If you coded it, but you have yet to use it in this iteration of muff, it will show enabled and not used. Then as you use each of these components or features, they go from not used to used. And at that point, they would go to the SMF records and eventually get pushed up to the SCRT report monthly. But you will see one of these entries for every single muff you're running. And the examples we're showing you using the sysview FXE command. There are all sorts of other tools that will display this. But I think from a DBA's perspective, what this gives you is you can see what features you're using, what features you may not be aware of that are new that you're not exploiting. And it just gives you an easy picture of how muff is being configured and used. That's it for me. On to the next slide and on to Vince.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the webinar here. Basically, as you've seen, what we're actually showing is that each developer is literally talking about each one of the functions and features that they're actually working on, and I hope you're enjoying that. Some of the things that I want to go ahead and talk to you about and explain a little bit as what we're actually doing in-house in order to provide an ease of use as far as the current protocols as far as maintenance of software within your operating system is the ZOSMF aspect of things. Having portable software instances and workflows available for each one of our functions and features. And we have them currently available with the current processes and current versions of the products. And this is simply done in order to adopt a new industry standard for programmer efficiency, basis for common maintenance application methodologies, single point of control, and you're able to manage systems from anywhere. Also, there are a lot of the things that it actually brings to the table is you're able to go ahead and provide some sort of audit mechanism that you are able to tell who were the ones who literally either installed or maintain a certain environment, product, or function. And also you're able to archive all of the information, meaning the job outputs, and that you'll be able to go ahead and reference back at any point in time whenever you want to go ahead and need any information therefrom. The portable software instance, you can say we have them available for both the Datacom DB and Datacom AD, and also for every other aspect of CICS server facility, IPC, DBC, and to include VSAM transparency. And then one of the, you can see some of the stars there, that big star, watch our video and Datacom Tube on the YouTube channel, was a session that one of our younger engineers actually made, which was really, really good, which includes actually the modification and of the receive water, which is the maintenance aspect of things, which is another step in the process. And what you're seeing in the picture here is just basically the workflows that are incorporated to the PSI, which includes after you literally download the PSI, you're able to either configure that environment, upgrade it, or do the receive order on that particular SMPE environment. Next slide, please. Also, here we go. If you were up last night till about 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, you would have been able to go ahead and watch us deliver this live and in color SU 2301, which we made it available late last night. They're doing the last minute dotting the I's and crossing the T's, if you would. And simply, basically, we're providing this 2301 as a PAX file and also as a PSI. Okay, so you're able to go ahead and bring it down as a straight ESD environment or into your ZOSMF environment. And as you know, everything as far as 2301 will be able to go ahead and get you up to date with all of the maintenance. One of the things that we do internally is we certify it with each and every single one of the products, and that's what we're bringing to the table. And at a certain point, meaning this is the CARS level, that we're literally testing everything. Everyone basically stops at what they're doing to provide the effort in order for us to build this environment out. And then, of course, after we put out the base packs, we'll run we create the PSI around it. Immediately after this, we'll be providing the Datacom AD service update, which will include the VSAM linear data sets. Actually, that's going to be the default install coming into and from the Datacom AD environment, and we will also provide the workflows that would allow the user to go ahead and implement these functions in a brand new install and configuration. Next is Becky from our Ideal development staff. Take it away, Becky.
Thank you, Vince, and thank you for the intro, so I don't have to say that. I'm going to talk about the couple of enhancements we've been working on in Ideal for our reset statement. One has been delivered, which is just a basic update to the reset statement that's going to allow you to initialize a group of fields to the spaces, nulls, zeros, basically blank out your fields for any programs that get called repeatedly. It saves you the having to either reload the program module, which is somewhat costly, or even just having to code line after line of statements to initialize all those statements. If you'll go to the next slide, we've provided this will be the full and final syntax for the reset statement once we provide the next enhancement to provide initial as an add-on to this, to be able to reset your fields, your group fields, to the initial values that were defined in the program. We're currently working on that as we speak, and hope to have that into our validation customers' hands here, hopefully in the next month or so, is what we're shooting for. We'd love any feedback or anybody that would like to join that. You speak to Nakisha or any of our team members to be able to get into that program. And I think that's about it. And I believe I hand it over to Kyle next. Is that correct?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Kyle Walzell. I'm on the Datacom SQL development team. And this slide shows that we have some delivered improvements to SQL and also some planned improvements. If you grab each of those PTFs, then you'll be able to gain these improvements. One of these is, the first one listed there is the overlay function. We'll talk about that in a second. The next one is a Datacom optimization improvement for a key override. And then the third one there is a drop plan improvement. And we are in development on a almost complete with a correlated subquery improvement for insert, update, or delete correlated subqueries. And we are continuing to improve our scalar functions and nested table expressions. Next page, please. Or next slide. Thank you. Yes. So for this PTF, it's a use key override, which is a new parameter on the Datacom optimization special register. Using this, it allows if you have a query that is not performing as well as you might think it should be, based on what the system decided to use as an optimization for the query. You can look at the indexes available on the table, as well as the performance report dumped out of a query, and you can select a different key to use a different index for get a better improvement. And so this option was added. It's actually supported on both on clauses and where clauses. It's actually the only Datacom optimization available on the where clause. But this is the syntax. It uses the 5-character DB key name. And these are a couple of examples. And yeah, again, you could use the, basically look at the indexes available on a table and as well as the performance report to dive into more details there to improve that query. Next slide, please. Next, there we go. Okay, so we also added a character scalar function called overlay. This is effectively almost exactly the same as insert, except there's just a different ordering of the parameters. Some customers are comfortable with overlay, so we went ahead and added it. This is some of the example syntax, and it's notable that with this BTF, it actually, because the insert code and the overlay code are very similar underneath, we found a couple of improvements. There was one corner case where overlay, or where the insert actually wasn't properly handling an appended string. So now it does, as well as this new overlay, which also handles it. And there's an improvement on an error message that we found that wasn't quite as accurate as it could be. So this, you can get this BTF and gain this function. And then the next slide, please. For the drop plan improvement, yes, so we improved the drop plan syntax. So now you basically can select multiple plans using the drop plan with, for example, the example on the bottom, you can specify, auth ID plan name 20 star. That will drop all of the plans versions from 2020. So that was an improvement that we added. And I believe that is it for the SQL improvements for this go round. And next would be.
Thank you, Kyle. We'll cover briefly our Datacom SQL Performance Analyzer. That was a GUI tool that we delivered to you a while back, and it allows you to view your SQL queries dynamically so that you can quickly and easily identify and address bottlenecks using a modern interface. We've actually done demonstrations on this, so I hope many of you have tried it out or look forward to trying it out. And with that, we can kick off our polling. Len, do you be able to kick off our first poll? Our first question is, have you adopted any of our recent Datacom enhancements?
All right, so I have released the first poll. It does take a few seconds to get out there. Still says distributing. All right, people are starting to vote now. All right, let's say another 10 or 15 seconds, everybody. Five-second countdown. All right, thank you very much, everybody.
And then the next poll is the next set of enhancements. Have you adopted any of our recent Datacom enhancements? There are our ideal program working data storage, SQL enhancement for use key, SQL enhancement for drop plan, and SQL enhancement for the overlay function, as well as the last one, SQL Performance Analyzer.
All right, again, I'm distributing it. Still says distributing. And I saw how many of you voted for the last one, so I'll be able to base response on that one probably, unless these ones are less popular, I guess. All right, people are starting to vote now. Let's say another 10 seconds. All right, thank you very much, everybody.
And then just two more. So if you haven't adopted any of these enhancements already, now that you've heard about it, or maybe you've heard about these enhancements via tech docs or other our announcements that we do regularly, do you have any plans to adopt any of our recent Datacom enhancements? So the first set is, have you any plans to adopting VSAM linear data sets, online table move for partition data sets, DBUT support for wider screens for KICS dynamic terminals, level set PTFs, or SCRT reporting?
All right, it is distributing. No one has started to vote yet. All right, people are starting to vote now. Let's say another 15 seconds or so. All right, thank you very much for your response to that one.
And then the last one was the next set of enhancements. Same question. If you haven't adopted already, do you have any plans to adopt any of these enhancements? The reinitialize ideal program working data enhancement with the reset, the SQL enhancement for use key, drop key, or overlay, and then SQL performance analyzer.
All right, it looks like people are starting to vote already, which is great. Okay, votes are still coming in, so we'll leave it open another 15 seconds or so. Oh, people are still voting, so we'll leave it open a little bit longer. All right, thank you very much, everybody. And your screen's visible again, Nikisha.
Thank you. Well, the next topic we'd like to cover today is our Embrace Open workshops. This is a new initiative, and the basic goal is that we're looking to help you with onboarding and learning of many of our modernization technologies. You've heard of us talk about enhancements for REST APIs, SQL Performance Analyzer, VS Code, setting up dashboards, etc. Many of you maybe are new to these technologies, and we're here to help. So our hands-on workshops will cover from end to end on adoption all the way through seeing value of these use cases. They're being facilitated by Broadcom in support of our technical services team, as well as our Datacom product team. And you can use your own systems to do these workshops, or we can host these on our own Broadcom systems for you to get a chance to get some hands-on experience to practice many of these technologies. So here's kind of a high-level summary of the phases of our workshop. You know, the goal is really to enable you to be successful. So we'll start with reviewing our strategy with you, reviewing each of the technologies, do some deep dives, some educational sessions, give you overview of our new and existing modernization product options. And then we'll go into use case discovery, where we're there in collaboration with you, we define out the use cases, what will be valuable to you, and then determine what critical success factors and business drivers that make sense to you to adopt any of these technologies. Then we move into actually setting up the environment, getting either our system set up or helping you walk through your system setup, and then actually doing the workshop itself. Well, we work with you from end to end in collaboration to help you set up each of these use cases. And after the workshop is over with, we won't stop there. We'll continue to check in with you and making sure you're seeing value and helping you along the way. And the ultimate goal is that you're able to adopt these enhancements and be able to see value from them at your environments. And with that, I'd like to do one last poll for today. Will you be willing to participate in an Embrace Open workshop? And as I mentioned, these are no cost. It just takes a time. Number of meetings will be determined upon the goals that we all agree to. It could be simply one meeting, or it could be multiple, depending on what we're trying to accomplish. So please let us know if any of these workshops are interesting to you and if you'd like to be contacted to begin one of our workshops.
All right, people are starting to vote. Votes are still coming in, so let's say another 10 or 15 seconds. All right, thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you all. Well, before we close today, I'd like to give you a sneak peek into some upcoming enhancements that are currently in progress in the Datacom development team. So along our Embrace Open theme, we have upcoming our Datacom Systems REST API, our Datacom System Health Chat Sample Web Application, and our Datacom Business APIs. So for System APIs, you may have known we released an initial version a couple years back, but now we've enhanced our Datacom Systems REST API to utilize 64-bit technology as well as include additional data. So our initial REST API offering was kind of rather limited, where our new REST API will contain all of our system tables, DST tables, as well as a view of our health check sample information that goes along with the system health check web application. The system health check web application is a sample, which means we're going to give you the product source code, and it's a way for you to learn how to leverage REST APIs in a meaningful way. With the source code, you're able to see how can you code a modern application to utilize REST APIs in the back end. This code sample is written in React language, and you'll get the full product source code, and as well as it will work for you with value out of the box. With the health check sample, you'll be able to see recommendations. It'll give you analysis of your environment and provide best practice rules to tell you if you should make any improvements or if we determine any values are within bounds or outside of bounds, etc. I'll actually going to go into a little bit more details in a moment. And then finally, our Datacom business REST APIs. So with the system API, you get your system data, the Datacom system data. But moving forward, you might have your own user data, application data that you would like to expose. And that comes with the business REST APIs. That will be delivered to you with a VS Code extension, which will generate the business APIs for you. And so that means you don't have to code the APIs yourself. With this VS Code extension, we will generate the REST API source code for you. And so you execute the generator and you'll have a working business REST API, all customized to the tables and data that you want to see. So I'm going to show my screen a little bit on the REST API. So with our Datacom Systems REST API, the way we've built it is it comes out of the box with a documentation format we call Swagger. And so by opening up the Swagger, you can see a nice GUI graphical interface, user interface of all of the endpoints we have. So as I'm going to scroll down here, this is our deployed Systems REST API. It's running on one of our development systems, and it contains a variety of different endpoints. So we're giving you information related to area tables, database tables, your data set, directories, elements, index, keys, key fields. I mean, I guess I won't name all of them. If I scroll down, you're going to see it's a ton of data. And at the bottom, you're going to see models to give you an example of what each of those fields are, an description of each of the fields that you'll get back. So each endpoint you invoke will come back with a variety of data coming back to you. And with Swagger, you can actually practice by executing an endpoint too. So you can see here with this get command, I can expand this and I can hit try it out, enter a data source set up for my environment and execute that, and you'll get data back. So in this specific example, I executed the API endpoint to give me directory area table. So this is retrieving all the key values from our directory area table. So here I'm getting back an array of all of the directory data information. It's in key value pairs where you have your key and then the value, and you can see all that coming back. So this is all great for practicing your APIs and each endpoint and understanding what kind of data comes back. But to use this in a meaningful way, you really need to build something. And a most often common use case is using a script. You can build a script to automate common things or improve the user interface. And another way is building a front end. And so here's an example that this is the health check sample application that I talked about, which is a web application that's utilizing REST APIs in the back end. And we're giving you the product source code for this. So with this health check sample, I would choose my environment again. And see this fetch here is actually invoking a REST API command in the back end, that command I just showed you. And here it's coming back with all the data coming back. And we've got a lot of data coming back from this REST API command, all formatted very nicely for you. Right now I have a tab here showing all, but I can subsidize that and see just database info and just see a subset of the columns, or just look at index area info. There's a data area info and then a table info. So you can see all or a subset of the data coming back. One great way to do with this is I can also hit the export option, and you'll see here at the bottom of my screen, it just created a CSV file. And now if I can open that, I can view that very nicely within Excel and get that same data as well. So it's a great way of, and you can build your own reports and save this data over time. So here I've built the data here. I've called it REST request and got back the data. The next step for there in the health check application is, how is your setup? How is your rule set up? And so the next step is to hit the Analyze tab. And from here, I'm going to hit Generate Report. And now what the health application has done is it has looked at my data and then compared it against what we have as our best practice rules. Now, if you want to know what the rules are, there is a Rules tab here, and this gives you an overview of every single rule that is defined in the system. And again, because this is a source code sample, you can extend this to add your own rules into the tool. But here is a subset of rules that we've created for you out of the box. You can select for the report analysis to go after each rule individually, or right here, it's selecting all of them. You can unselect and just say, oh, I'm only going to run this report against a single rule, and then do the analyze again with just comparing one rule, or you can let it select all the rules. For each rule, we give you example information on what the rule is, what type of information it is, a description, and a good explanation. So for example, our DBID rule here will tell you the best practice is to only use DBIDs that are in a valid range for user databases. Datacom has reserved the first 20 of every 1,000 DBIDs for system databases. The best practice rule will flag any database in the system that's using those reserved ranges. And so this is a great way of seeing our best practice rules. And again, we encourage you to also add your own into the tool as well. So I've done an analyze and I've got back a listing of my environment. It's going to tell me, if I hit show statistics, there's a few categories. So it'll mark in red any critical errors that are in my system. I have 0 in this test environment. Major are flagged in yellow. So it looks like I do have some conditions I might want to improve in my environment based on our recommendations. Then we have minor, which is a tan color, safe, which is green, which means that we're within bounds on that. And then we have some just informational and things that you want to take note of, and those are in blue. So what's great about this is you can continue to run this multiple times as you fix your environment. And then we have an option called compare, which allows you to compare your data over time. So maybe I've ran this today, I've made some changes, and now I want to compare this against a report I've ran another day. So let's say I analyze this again, and I've done this. Well, if I do it again right now, I'm probably gonna get the same system because I haven't changed anything. But let's say I run this against some sample data. Oh. And then I go ahead and hit compare. I think I'm going to have the same coming back. Yeah, I think these are pretty much identical. But there, we do have an option to say show differences. And if they were different, I had run on 2 different systems or 2 different time periods, I'm going to see, it's going to show me what those differences are between the 2 environments. We have an About tab here. Lastly, it gives you an overview and then our licensing agreement, basically showing that this is a sample. We're giving the source code, so it's use as is, and you can tailor it as you like. So hopefully let us know what you think in the comments, and please reach out to us. This is ready for, soon to be ready for posting up to our customer validation program. We really want to get additional customers, additional users to test this for us before we make it GA. So we're looking for you all to volunteer to join a monthly call or a weekly call or join a workshop, and we can help you set this up in your environment, help you set up the REST API, as well as set up the health check sample, and then give us your feedback. We'd like to know from you what you all think, and we're encouraged to hear more. So that's kind of an overview on that. And lastly, but most importantly, I'd like to open up the floor and answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Nikisha. There actually aren't any outstanding questions out in the question box right now. So folks, if you have anything you want to ask, please feel free to put them there. If you're typing something a little bit longer, I would encourage you to just type the word wait and hit enter so that we don't end the session while you're still typing. We'll give everyone a few seconds. I'll also remind you about our post-event survey. We would love some feedback on today's webcast. All right, I don't see anything coming in, so we can go ahead and wrap up. Folks, I'll also remind you that the replay of this webcast will be out in the community probably later today. I remember I'm out of the office tomorrow, so I want to take care of it before the weekend. So look out there. If you have anyone you want to share it with, you can point them to the community as well. Have a great rest of your week and a great weekend, and we will speak to you next time.
Thank you, Len. We just have a couple announcements before we wrap up completely.
I'm sorry, Nikisha.
If we have a few time, I just want a couple things I just want to note. Just remind everyone, in addition to all the enhancements we've delivered with our continuous delivery program, delivering you enhancements as PTFs as opposed to new releases, we also have many beyond code offerings. It's another way we give value to you that goes beyond just the source code. So we have initiatives related to helping you address your skills challenges. Please reach out to us if you're interested in our Vitality program. For Vitality, we take our DBAs and we train them through a series of mainframe basics as well as product training, Datacom DBA training, and then we cover that cost of those hirees, and then we make them available to you all to hire after they get trained. We also continually update our online educational portal with web-based trainings. Again, that's no cost to you online training that we deliver and continue to update monthly. We have our mainframe insights program to help executives and provide additional mainframe insights to our customers. Along our lines of support, we have our expert change planning program that gives you hand-holding through upgrades or allows you to work one-on-one with our support related to hot topics that be going on into your environments. We have our Win New V services program where we help you displace and replace with our Broadcom products based on some competitive upgrades that you might be doing. We have our design thinking workshops and embrace open workshops that we're doing with you again at no cost. And then ways to optimize your mainframe environment with Mainframe Essentials. We have customized MRI assessments and mainframe consumption licensing. So a lot of things that we're delivering to you at no cost all go beyond code. And then I'm going to pass it off to Sheila Miller, our offering manager, to cover our Broadcom mainframe technical exchange. Sheila, are you mute? I don't hear her, so I'll just cover it real quick. So we have MTE and European EMEA coming up very soon in Prague, and that's from April 18th to the 20th. Followed by that, we will have our North American MTE in-person event, and this will be covered in Plano, Texas, from June 13th to June 15th. And we are planning to have cadre sponsor sessions as part of that offering. And then we'll have our virtual MTE event in October, from October 3rd to October 5th. So we're hoping to see you all there. We'll look forward to seeing you in person in Plano and then virtually again in October for the Datacom portions. It's a great chance for you to network with your fellow peers as well as with us on the mainframe technical teams. And it's a great way to see product education, updates, additional roundtables, and again, at no cost to register and open to all Broadcom customers. And then with that, we'll close it out for real this time. Any additional questions? And then we'll end today's session.
There were no other questions came in, so we can go ahead and wrap up. And I'm not going to bore everyone with my spiel once again. So have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.